Ben Askren's health crisis intensifies. We start with a heavy update. Ben Askren's wife, Amy, revealed he's still on a ventilator and ECMO. She said they've had moments where he can open his eyes and squeeze hands, but his body isn't strong enough to fully wake up. They're now starting the lung transplant evaluation. She's praying for a miracle and says no one would take better care of a donor lung than Ben. The MMA community is rallying behind him, but this is serious. UFC Abu Dhabi Fight Night is stacked. Dana White just dropped a fight card bomb.
What's up, everybody? UFC President Dana White here to talk to you about one of the most fight nights of the year, happening live and free on ABC, the network, July 26th from Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Here we go. In the main event, we have number 5 ranked Robert Whittaker taking on Reinier de Ridder. Whittaker, a former UFC middleweight champion, you all know he's been in some of the best fights in middleweight history and now intends on being the first guy to beat de Ridder in the UFC. De Ridder is a former middleweight and light heavyweight world champion and has finished everyone he has fought in the UFC. He's coming off a win over the top prospect in the sport, Bo Nickel. If de Ridder can beat Whittaker, it's very likely he'll be fighting for the number 1 contender bout next. I am pumped for this fight because these guys are both killers and they always come out and deliver. In the co-main event, we have another 5-round fight between number 4 ranked Movsar Evloev taking on the guy most people consider to be the top free agent in the world, Aaron Pico. Evloev is undefeated at 19-0 and one of the most intimidating guys at featherweight. Aaron Pico is a ridiculously violent striker and a very high-level grappler. Pico has had hype behind him since he was a teenager because of his skill and fighting style, which people compare him to the likes of Justin Gaethje or Dustin Poirier. If Movsar can get the victory, he will likely be the next contender for the title against Alexander Volkanovski. Expect this fight to be an absolute war. Just added, former UFC champion and number 3 ranked bantamweight in the world, Petr Yan, will be taking on the very explosive Marcus McGee, who earned this fight by going 4-0 in the UFC with 3 finishes and 3 post-fight bonuses. Also, Bryce Mitchell is making a big move down to the bantamweight division and will debut against the always dangerous Saeed Nurmagomedov, the cousin of Khabib. Shara Bullet is back and will fight Marc-Andre Barriault, which should be an incredible matchup. And top-ranked light heavyweight Nikita Krylov puts his 93% finish rate against the 100% finish rate of the absolutely terrifying Bogdan Guskov. Ladies and gentlemen, live and free on ABC, the network, July 26th from Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. I will see you there.
More fights and some tension, a few key reshuffles. Paulo Costa versus Roman has been moved to UFC 318. Paulo says he didn't pull out. He was reallocated for business strategy. Bobby Green returns at UFC 319 versus Diego Ferreira after 2 first-round losses. And Edson Barboza meets Dricus close. Meanwhile, Nasruddin Imavov is no longer backup for Chimaev versus Duplessis and is now beefing online with Caio Borralho. These two are throwing verbal haymakers. Dagestan versus Brazil just got real. Jamal Hill's redemption run. Jamal Hill previewed his fight with Khalil Rountree and made it clear he's out to return to dominance. Hill's coming off a wild war with Yuri Prochazka, but now he says he's faster, longer, more experienced, and more dangerous.
He's always dangerous, you know. He comes, he throws with a lot of power, a lot of ferocity. He likes to be very, very aggressive. He's kind of ruthless in the way that he comes at his opponents. So you got to be aware of that. But for me, he's got to worry about everything. You know, I have my own ferocity. I have my own, speed. I believe I'm faster. You know, I'm the taller, longer fighter. And I believe I have more experience against better competition. Sweet Dreams back. Sweet Dreams coming back to form, getting back to that championship form, and just back to dominance. And so that's the main thing I look to get back to. You know, I've had me and Yuri had a fun war back and forth. You know, in that fight, and I mean, ultimately didn't turn out my way. But I'm looking to return to dominance to where I was before.
Alex Pereira teases heavyweight move. Alex Pereira is bulking way up. He recently revealed he weighs 243 pounds.
Libra, apesar que a gente tá no PI, balanço oficial, vamos ver aqui. O Play fala que tô pesado, pô, não sei não, vamos ver. Pô, em quilo dá quanto aqui, Play?
Caralho, mano.
Em quilo dá quanto?
Tá uns 110 pra mais aí, velho, bro. So 43 is fucking big heavyweight size,
mas
bro.
de tênis, joia.
Heavyweight, bro.
Tênis, joia.
Peso pesado, puta. Chama.
Conor McGregor club altercation. Conor McGregor's in the headlines again, this time for a nightclub incident in Ibiza. Earlier clips show him looking heavily intoxicated. No word from Conor yet, but let's be real, with video already out, a lawsuit feels inevitable. Islam's retirement rumors spark fear. Islam Makhachev's coach Javier Mendez says Islam might retire after 3 more fights. Daniel Cormier immediately warned fans, this sounds just like Khabib.
Islam Makhachev might have 3 fights, including Jack Della Maddalena. That right there is where our energy should be spent as Islam fans. How in the world does it feel like another dominant champion may be saying it's about time? Why? He's young. He's the world champ. He's dominating. He's getting an opportunity to become a double champ. Why? I think that we are in a time right now in fighting that for me as a fan is very sad. I don't believe for a second though that it's going to change. But when they all start to walk away, it's sad for the fan. But Islam only has 3 fights. It's scary to me because I know, knowing these guys, the only saving grace right now is that someone else is saying it for him and he has not said that himself. If Islam comes out and tells us, I've got 3 fights left, we should all go, man, we got to lock in. We saw Khabib do it and he never looked back. That should be worrisome to us as mixed martial arts fans. We have so many more fights that we want these guys to fight. We want to see him against Jack Della. We want to see him against Usman, and we want to see him against Ilia Topuria. It's crazy.
Francis Ngannou's legacy in question. Matt Brown just lit up the Francis Ngannou legacy debate. He praised Francis for making millions boxing, but says his MMA legacy took a major hit. After leaving the UFC and losing to both Fury and Joshua, Matt says Francis won't be remembered as the greatest heavyweight anymore. He believes those losses erased Ngannou from the top of the all-time conversation, despite the financial wins. Volkanovski backs JDM over Islam. Alexander Volkanovski broke down the Islam versus Jack Della Maddalena matchup and said JDM's takedown defense is now next level.
I think Jack's fight against Bilal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Tom Aspinall eyes Curtis Blaydes' trilogy. Still no update on Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. Dana White said they'll have answers, quote, in the next couple weeks, end quote. But Aspinall isn't waiting around. He posted on Threads hinting at a trilogy fight with Curtis Blaydes. If Jon keeps dodging, Aspinall is already looking at the next man up.